We have an update from one of our sponsors, the VegasNearMe app. They are constantly working to add more information. We tell you that all the time. The app is free. We also tell you that. But gosh, when we get these updates, it really is incredible how much information is inside.
Yeah, VegasNearMe has recently partnered with Vegas.com to get you the best prices on show tickets. In fact, they have over 1,000 shows listed inside the app.
And also, we know sometimes you need a quick break or a familiar go-to when you're in Las Vegas. And they do have more than 1,400 chain restaurants and stores listed in there. They have more than 8,000 individual locations, so you can find them. We're talking Walgreens, Starbucks, fast food, you name it.
And we all love to save money, don't we? Well, Vegas Near Me is going to help with that too. Right now, they're offering 50% off of shows at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, plus a $99 bottle package at Crazy Horse 3 for up to 4 people, including transportation.
Yeah, that's a good deal. And there's lots of other deals in there too. So get in and look around. Vegas Near Me is free. You don't have to put in your email. Download it in the Google or Apple App Store. Hours, locations, even the length of shows are in there. It's really good. You can even find live music, kid-friendly activities, maps of inside the hotels and casinos. It really is a lot of information in your hand.
It is. Vegas Near Me. Download it today.
It's episode 202 of Vegas Revealed. Las Vegas is a 24-hour town, right? Well, it used to be. We dish on the dining trend that 86's late-night eats.
A Nashville honky-tonk at the heart of the Las Vegas Strip, our firsthand experience at Blake Shelton's Ole Red, and the most exclusive table at the place.
When Kylie and Christina are away, a new show is filling Voltaire. We just checked it out, and we'll have some thoughts.
More new experiences at Fontainebleau, Resorts World cozies up to Vegas locals, and even more signs of Super Bowl 58.
That and more this week on Vegas Revealed.
And we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Vegas Near Me app. If it's fun to do or see, it's on Vegas Near Me.
Let's do it. Let's spin that wheel. Welcome to Vegas Revealed, episode 202. And we need to start with the Super Bowl because it's less than 25 days away now.
I know. We were down on the Strip. There were marquees up and down the Strip the other day with the countdown, 25-day countdown to Super Bowl 58 on February 11th over at Allegiant Stadium. I can't believe how close it's getting.
I know. And it's just like, it feels like there must be all this planning behind the scenes, and so much scrambling going on. I can only imagine. I'm glad that we're not part of that. I know there's a lot of pressure,
Well, there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of events that need to happen here in Las Vegas before we even get to Super Bowl. So there is a lot of scrambling happening for a lot of different reasons.
Well, the NFL just announced the pregame entertainers, and there's some familiar faces who visit Las Vegas and perform in Las Vegas on that list.
Yeah, the national anthem is about to get fancy this year because Reba McEntire is stepping out there to sing the national anthem with the flag flying, and that's going to be a good one. I love that they chose Reba for this.
I know. I think a country music artist is important to have at the Super Bowl because, country music has always been big, but I just feel like it is huger than ever, and we need that country music representation at the big game.
Yeah, we do. Also, Post Malone, who just did New Year's Eve over at Fontainebleau, is singing America the Beautiful before kickoff.
Okay, and Andra Day is doing Lift Every Voice and Sing before the show as well. So a nice lineup there and a good variety, I think.
It is. And then, of course, Usher taking center stage for the Super Bowl halftime show, which there have been some new teasers released for Usher's performance. And it feels like he's going to go back to his roots a little bit. Maybe there's going to be like a church choir involved.
Which is great.
And I have a feeling he's going to represent each era of his career and possibly pull out some collaborators as well. Well, he said he would have collaborators.
Yeah, he already told us that, right? Yeah. But you're right. He's been doing some good teasers, and I happen to have Apple Music free for a month because I took advantage of another trial, and then I'll cancel it.
Smart.
And since it's the Apple halftime show. They've been pushing a lot of content out, related to Usher and the videos and teasers and stuff like that. So I've been able to watch it all. It looks exciting. And, again, we say this about so many different things. You forget how many hits that Usher has. I mean, it's going to be difficult for him to pick just, however many, 4 or 5, or I don't know, maybe he'll do like a bigger, mix of all of them and just make them really short. I don't know.
Yeah, he's going to have to do some mashups.
Yeah.
I think mashups, a big collaboration, compilation of his biggest hits. Someone else who has a ton of big hits is also performing on the Strip during Super Bowl weekend. Kelly Clarkson is bringing her Chemistry residency back to Planet Hollywood to entertain all the fans who are here for Super Bowl. So Kelly Clarkson will be here. Miranda Lambert will not.
Yeah. Because I think we saw on a website somewhere that it was Miranda Lambert, and we're like, no, it's Kelly now. And so we wanted to make that clear. If anyone sees that and still wanted a chance to see Kelly Clarkson at Planet Hollywood, she'll be here Super Bowl weekend performing.
And of course, if you are coming into town for that big game, whether you have tickets to Allegiant Stadium or not, there's going to be a lot going on from opening night over at Allegiant Stadium that Monday to the NFL experience happening down at Mandalay Bay. There's going to be an NFL music festival. There's kind of a food festival happening as well. So there's lots to experience. And in addition to the parties and events that individual properties are putting on.
I know. And it's interesting because, with the Super Bowl, people coming in just for that week are going to have so many other things to experience that we already have here anyway.
Yeah.
They might want to hit Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. They may want to go to Lisa Vanderpump's Cocktail Garden, either over at Caesar's Palace or over at the Paris. Martha Stewart has a restaurant here now over at the Paris. Giada at the Cromwell. I mean, we have so many amazing, restaurants that the to-do list is going to be long, including all the things you have to do centered around Super Bowl.
Well, and Guy Fieri also.
Oh,
I know his restaurant over at the Link, they're doing a big party out on the patio that they have there. That's going to be like kind of an all-inclusive ticket.
Right.
And then Guy himself is throwing a big parking lot tailgate out behind the High Roller in that big parking lot that they have out there.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's perfect. Because he was in, that Super Bowl movie that had the 4 ladies that loved Tom Brady.
Oh, the 80 for Brady?
The 80 for
was
Brady movie. Yeah, Guy Fieri was in that. He was doing like a chicken wing contest. So I feel like it's important for him to be at the Super Bowl, and how perfect that he happens to have a few spots here already.
It is. That is very perfect.
So I wonder if he'll be putting on the chicken wing eating contest over there at the Link.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I know.
If there's any time to do it, it's during Super Bowl. Well, Dana, you bring up restaurants, and there has been a trend going on with restaurants on the Strip and off the Strip. I'll add as well. People are having a hard time getting a late night reservation.
Yeah, it's because they're not open.
Because they don't exist.
No, and I was on an elevator recently, and some folks were talking about this, and I thought, it's so interesting. We were just talking about this recently, and then especially around New Year's Eve, and I'm starting to think, is this is actually a thing now?
Yeah.
Restaurants are closing mostly by 10, 10:30, and 11 at the very latest. What I'm saying is it's really, really hard to find a place that's open after 11.
So getting a reservation, you're probably only going to get a reservation up until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're lucky.
Right. It was even New Year's Eve. It was hard to find. Some restaurants, the ones that we were looking at, all closed at 11. And I thought, well, you're not even going to stay open till midnight?
Yeah.
I don't get it. So it's interesting. I don't know why. And I mean, they must not get the amount of people that they used to get. And it's just not worth keeping staff there. It's the only thing I can think of. But I have people that come into town all the time, and a lot of people come from the East Coast or whatever, and they arrive late, right? And they're like, hey, I'm going to be in, but my conference starts tomorrow. Tonight's my only chance to see you. Want to go out to dinner, but I don't land until 8:30, right? So by the time they get settled, are you up for a late night dinner? That's happened to me a lot. And I'll go right to the VegasNearMe app and start searching where, what places are open a little bit later. And I can't believe that the only list of things I'm seeing are fast food restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
It's the restaurants are closed. I'm like, what? Why? How? What? It's Vegas.
Although,
so I don't know.
I knew that we've been talking about this topic between ourselves.
Yeah.
And as I was driving down Flamingo the other day, which this is not on the Strip, it is about 10 minutes off the Strip, but the Blueberry Hill Family Restaurant,
diner, yeah,
right on Flamingo is open 24 hours.
Oh, good.
They have an Italian. They kind of have a menu like Cheesecake Factory,
Right.
where they have everything plus all their homemade desserts.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. So if you need a real late night diner, I mean, late night diner is always great, right?
It is.
But no, that's good to know. It's rare. It's rare these days to find that. So I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, we're looking for your insight. I mean, those of you in the food and beverage world here in Las Vegas, drop us an email, ideas@vegas-revealed.com. What's the deal? Why is everything closing early? We feel like it never used to be that way.
Or if you have a great late night hotspot, a hidden secret that people don't really know about, maybe you're reluctant to share because you want to keep it your own late night hotspot. But if there are any suggestions you have, we'd love to share them here on the podcast because we have, like you said, Dana, had lots of conversations about this, and people want this information.
It's true. They do. I'm doing that Bachelorette, and we have a show at 10 p.m. We have to go, obviously, to dinner before. But like some people want to do a little happy hour, or not even a happy hour, have some drinks, go to a show at 10 o'clock, and they want to do a late night dinner.
Right.
That is, there was nothing.
Right.
So we flipped it and did 6:45 dinner, 10 o'clock show.
Jeez.
And now we're going to a nightclub after. So it should be an interesting night. Stay tuned for that one. Listen, speaking of late night, we did go to a new show over at Voltaire at the Venetian. You and I had not been in Voltaire yet. And they are doing a show that kind of fills the nights when Kylie Minogue and Christina Aguilera are not there performing. So they wanted to be able to fill that space, put on something that people could enjoy and go in, get a cocktail. And let me tell you, when we both walked in, we were like, wow, this is the most stunning. I would say, and I feel confident saying it's the most stunning venue in Vegas.
It's the theater itself is absolutely stunning. And the show that is performed there is called Belle de Nuit, which means beauty of the night in French. And that's kind of the vibe that you have in there, is like kind of a French Art Deco, modern, burlesque, Studio 54, disco,
Yeah,
like kind of all of that mixed together. And I know that one of the features that we all liked sitting at our table were these translucent floating orbs up in the ceiling. There are tons of them.
Looks like bubbles.
It does. It looks like bubbles. They change height. They go up and down throughout the show depending on what's going on. There's disco balls that come down.
Yeah, it was, and then toward the end when I was leaving, I actually walked specifically toward the back because we were kind of close to the stage just to see what it looked like from the back. And it's just gorgeous. Everything, like you said, hanging from the ceiling. I mean, the booths, the art kind of deco-ish. I don't know. It was like all over. The bar was beautiful. All of it.
It is. And they have, it almost looks like these giant crystal formations are growing on the wall. And there's a big, and that same kind of motif is used in this big DJ booth that's hovering over the entire audience up there. And I thought that I was having a conversation with our friend Stacy, and we were talking about these crystally kind of decor. And we were like, doesn't it remind you of the planet that Superman came from? Like when he was a baby, you know how there were like these crystal formations that were coming up out of the ground?
Right. Yes.
We were like, oh, it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm a huge Superman fan. So I know exactly what you're talking about, especially Superman 2. So yeah, it does. It does. It is cool. I've never seen anything like it in Vegas. I do think it's stunning. If you get a chance to go in there, you might want to go see this show because it's $75. So it's affordable. And now apparently when Kylie goes on, and I don't know about Christina, I think I was talking to someone who said, oh, I saw that, or at least parts of it. That's what they do before Kylie comes on. and
Right.
before Christina. So, but this is like I think a little bit of a longer version. So all that's happening, but they're like, well, we might as well, have the cast perform and do this so more people can get in on the nights that they are not there, Kylie and Christina. And shows are at 9:15. They are 8:15 on Sundays. And like I said, tickets are only $75.
And this show is, it feels very upscale in the way that it's presented, but it's also like there's some tongue-in-cheek moments. The acts don't take themselves too seriously, and there's such a great variety. I would love to see Voltaire absolutely packed every single night that they put on Belle de Nuit, especially with a ticket price of $75. I think that's one of the best ticket prices in Las Vegas.
Well, because I think you get to enjoy the venue. There's a lot of breaks. So it's not like you go in, there's a show, and you're out.
Right.
You don't have to leave. You don't have to. There's breaks in between where you can go grab a drink or, order from the waitress or have a conversation with your friends, and listen to the music. So it's more of an experience where you're kind of not in and out. Which I like.
And they don't kick you out after the show. They say, hey, stay.
Enjoy it, yeah.
And enjoy the space, grab more cocktails, make it your own.
Yeah, right. Just open your wallet.
Exactly.
But I did enjoy it. I'm glad they're doing that to offer. On a completely total flip side, we went to Old Red, Blake Shelton's new honky tonk right there on the Strip at Las Vegas Boulevard and Flamingo, right in front of the Horseshoe, across the street from the Bellagio. We checked it out on Family and Friends night, which was fun, but it is now officially open.
Yeah, and it is a total Nashville vibe. If you have been to the honky tonks on Broadway in Nashville, it almost transports you there, except in Nashville, you don't get the views of the Strip. And the interior of Old Red is pretty cool. It's 3 levels inside with a rooftop patio on the 4th level, and it's all open to this central stage that where they have live performers there. There's a video wall that goes from floor to ceiling, and then you look up to the ceiling and there's a big vintage tractor hanging there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Only Blake Shelton would do that, right? And Old Reds are popular, and I know this is, I'm assuming, the biggest one.
It's the largest.
The largest, yeah. I thought I read that. So people have been waiting. They lined up to get in.
Yeah.
On opening day. I mean, it's huge. And then, like you said, the rooftop patio, I think that's going to be, it just needs to warm up just a little bit more. That thing's going to be packed. And what a view. You can just literally see to the left, well, I'd say to the south and to the north of the Strip, right across the street toward the Bellagio. Gorgeous. It's going to be a hot spot for sure.
Yeah, the rooftop wasn't really open when we were there, but our server was like, hey, do you want to go up and take a look?
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, sure. And she showed us the most exclusive table at Old Red.
Right. What is it called? 777?
The 777 table.
Yeah, it's right there on the corner. Like you're right at the edge, not like on the edge, but where you have the best view. There's nothing, surrounding you, no table to your left or right. And so it's like just a perfect spot to really sit there on the Strip.
It kind of juts out on a peninsula, and it's got curtains that can close it off. If it is a super VIP experience, there's an ice bucket built right into the table. So if you have bottle service or whatever, they just chuck the bottles right down in there.
Yeah.
And it's to the side of the stage. Just to the right of the stage. So you've got a great view of anyone who's performing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a very popular spot. It'll do so well. I know they're doing stuff for Super Bowl too. Blake wasn't there at the opening. I think this is kind of a soft opening. And then I know he's supposed to come in around April, and he's already talked about, I'm going to be popping in there a lot. So you never know when Blake will show up, which is kind of the fun part too, right? Also, I was reading on social media, and he actually tagged us. Our friend Sam Riddle, country singer, he's going to be performing there, I think, regularly. So I'm excited for him, and they have a whole lineup of people, which we love. We looked at the menu. We ordered a few things off the menu. I loved the fried pickles. I thought it was delicious. The burger was great too.
It was.
Yeah.
And those pickles were delicious.
Oh my gosh.
I could just sit there and eat a mound of them.
Oh my God. Delish.
They were like thin cut, almost like pickle ribbons.
Yeah.
that were then breaded and fried. And the dipping sauce was more than just a regular like ranch dipping sauce.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. They needed more though to serve with it.
So good. So good.
But yeah, everyone's different with their fried pickles. Sometimes they have the little ones, where they just have them like circular
almost
ones.
looking like a coin.
Yeah. Sometimes the full like pickle sphere, and then this one was kind of sliced, like you said, longer. But the burger was delicious too. We did get the mushroom tacos, and we did tell our waitress they were a little too smoky kind of tasting.
Yeah, I think they used liquid smoke in there.
Yeah,
and it was really prominent.
Yeah, really prominent. And she said, "Okay, we'll fix that." But they wanted some feedback, so hopefully we made an adjustment that will help others.
Yes. And we had some barbecue sliders too, and those were really good.
Yeah. The drink menu, it's a little pricey. It's the Strip. It's Old Red, but they were $24 for cocktails, I think it was, for a lot of them. And, different kinds of beers and stuff on there. We didn't really write it down or anything, but you'll see them floating around. I just saw a bunch of people put the menu on Twitter and stuff like that. But it's the Strip, and things are a little bit more expensive than normal. But it was a great experience overall.
And the vibe in there is A+.
Yeah, A+. The music's really loud. Be prepared for that. If you have kids, you might even want to bring some earplugs. It's pretty loud.
It was loud.
Yeah, for the kids.
When the live musicians were performing, and they had just like the house music turned on. It was like more of a normal level. But yeah, it really gets kicking in there.
I know. I look forward to going back again when it's now that it's officially open. They have a great merchandise area as well. Hey, I went to the Wynn to see Sebastian Maniscalco, one of my faves. You hear me talk about him all the time. My friend was in town and he said, I've never seen Sebastian. I was like, let's go. He was hilarious as always. And what I love is every time I see him, he has new material. It's never like the same thing. It's because I thought I saw him about like shortly after, I always call it after COVID, but it was after 2020, but like, right on the cusp there when things started kicking back up again. And he performed over at the Encore at the Wynn. He's still there all the time. He's back Super Bowl weekend. He's coming back in March again and then May. His jokes are nonstop. I never stopped laughing the entire time. And I had so many people on my Facebook say, oh, I didn't know he was in town. And I'm like, well, he's in town a lot. He's really become a regular at the Encore at the Wynn.
Yeah, he has.
So he's excellent. And I could go on and on about how much I love him. But even when I post about it, everyone else I know there's so many people that feel the same that have followed him for years and years. He's really like literally just one of the best top-notch comedians. This lady, oh my gosh, this poor lady came from the East. It was the 10:30 show. And she came from that. She must have just flown in. I think she said once he woke her up, as she was sleeping on her husband's shoulder.
Sebastian woke her up?
Yeah, he's woke her up. And so you can only imagine how that went, right? And how funny it was. But she flew in from the East Coast. So it was like, at that time it was like 11:30. So 12:30, 1:30, 2. It was like 2:30 her time.
Right.
They flew in that night and her husband insisted they go to this show because it was the only time they had to see Sebastian. And she fell asleep on his shoulder. And Sebastian gave her a really hard time.
So I've never seen Sebastian live. Does he have a lot of fun with the audience? Does he play with people?
Oh my gosh, tons of fun.
So there's a lot of off-the-cuff moments.
Oh yeah, the dude with the sunglasses in the front row, really, Sebastian was like, you got to have a lot of confidence to walk in here with your sunglasses and your orange coat looking like a construction cone. Some lady was screaming in the balcony. He was like, her fentanyl's just kicking in.
Oh my God.
Be careful. I think she might jump off the balcony soon. He was pointing out some single ladies that walked in late and the whole thing. He's hilarious and has a lot of fun with the audience and quick. But then he gets right back into his monologue. It's great how he does it. It's flawless.
That's great. Yeah. I love that.
So anyway, you can check him out again, Super Bowl weekend, March and May, and then I'm sure he'll add more dates. Before that, I went over to Q at Fountain Blue. It's one of the restaurants I hadn't tried yet because I live around the corner and so I'm there all the time.
Yep.
It was pretty decent. We had a couple issues with our food orders, but you know what? We talked to the manager. She was great. She said, here's some free dessert. She made good on some of the errors that were made. Some things took long to come out because it's supposed to be more of a family style place.
Okay.
So things came out and then something else didn't come out for like another 30 to 40 minutes. And we're like, hello, where's we got the Korean fried chicken. And the chicken inside, the meat of this chicken was excellent. The waiter recommended it. I wouldn't say it was like the best Korean fried chicken I've ever had or anything, but it was good. But what we loved was the tuna crispy rice was excellent. And we got this cauliflower, like this charred cauliflower. It was delicious. They bring it out, they chop it up right on the plate for you to share it. It's like a big, huge portion. And it's got some oil on it, some sauce. It was delicious. So I highly recommend that cauliflower.
And isn't that the restaurant that has the most expensive chicken dish?
Yes.
In Las Vegas?
I can't remember if it's 360 or 380 or 340, but one of those. And the waiter, when we said, "Hey, what do you recommend?" He recommended that first. And we were like, and my friend was like, I mean, could you start, maybe you could like buffer that in, but like the two of us are not ordering a $350 chicken. I hear it's great. I'm sure it's delicious. But we were like, well, why don't you start like, lower and slowly climb up to that?
Yeah.
So that was funny.
Oh my gosh.
Then there were a lot of seats that were open near like the windows because it's one of the few restaurants. It might be the only restaurant.
The only one, yeah.
Yeah, in Fontainebleau that has windows in it. And they sat us back by the bathrooms. And my friend too, he likes to speak up. He was like, can we move? There's like a lot of tables up front that aren't filled. And I understand they probably have sections like the waiters and stuff.
Right.
But he was like, can we not sit in the corner by the bathrooms? So they moved us. So anything that we brought up, they did respond to. I know they're new. I know, it's going to take some time. The food that I had was good. I'm not sure I'll return to Q if I had a choice, but maybe. But I have gone to Mother Wolf and I've gone to Komodo and loved those in the Fontainebleau. It wasn't a bad experience. It just wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. And you were over at Wynn for a little bit also.
Yes. So after that, I went to Sebastian, and I thought that was interesting because when I went into Wynn, because my friend was staying there. The night of, it was busy, but even the morning, it was like a Monday at like 10:30 in the morning. It was packed.
Wow.
The line, it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I know a lot of people had a long weekend. So, but I was like surprised. I walked by the buffet. It was like this long line and like several I don't even know, it was like 10, 20 deep. And then I had to wait in line to go to Terrace Cafe, which I loved. And we did it. We got through in about 25 minutes. It wasn't a big deal because we were there. But when I went to Wynn, what I did like about the parking garage there is it kind of, remember you and I, we were at a different hotel. And even though we were locals and we were before the 3-hour limit, we had to still sit there in the backed up line waiting for the parking garage lever to lift. And we had to put in the ticket, then scan our license. And then, of course, as parking meters never pick up, it takes forever to scan your license until you get it just right. And so the line's backing up, all that. What I loved at the Wynn was that it kind of knows your plate or whatever once you get your ticket, whether it reads your plate, whether it knows you're local, and it just opens right up.
Yep.
And I loved that. I thought that was really great. When I left Fontainebleau, that one, you put the ticket in, and if you're before the whatever limit there is, I think it's 4 hours, it just opens right up.
Okay.
So there's none of that, like get out your Nevada ID, try and scan it, hold up the whole line. And I'm hoping every parking garage kind of follows along those lines.
Well, then let me ask you this. When I know we went to Voltaire to see the new show that they have there. Mm-hmm. When you left, did the gate automatically open for you? Or did you have to scan your ID?
Before we walked into the garage, there was a kiosk.
Oh.
And we put the ticket in and scanned our ID. Oh. And it said now validated.
Okay.
And when I drove out, the arm did not lift. I thought it was going to. I had to put my car, and I hated this too because it was a ramp. It's a ramp.
Yeah.
I had to put my car in park, the parking brake on, stick out, get my ticket back out again, put it in. Then it opened. I didn't have to scan my ID again, but it read that, okay, she validated. And here's something interesting though. So that must not have happened for you. What happened? You didn't do your ID?
Well, no, I scanned the ticket, and I was at 2 hours and 54 minutes.
Right.
So just under the 3-hour free parking limit. And it was telling me there was a $15 balance. But what happened was I got all flustered and nervous because there was a line of traffic starting to build up behind me. And I was like, ugh, I don't. And so it didn't even occur to me to scan my ID because I was like, well, it already knows because it scanned my license plate on the way in. So,
but maybe it didn't scan your license.
It was my fault.
It was
my fault for not scanning my ID. And in my moment of panic, I would just took out my debit card and
not me. Everyone can wait. I'm hitting that button, and I'm not about to pay $15 if I don't need to. I would have yelled at you if I was in the car.
I know.
Here's an idea though. So when we left, when we did that, it said, I can't remember what the time was, but it said, you're all set and validated. Leave before 11:52 or whatever it was. I can't remember the time.
Oh, okay.
So here's a thought. I think that once you get that ticket, and say you're even entering the Palazzo, at the top of the elevators, there's the kiosk. You can validate your license so you don't forget. Put in your thing, and then it tells you what time you need to leave by.
So it gives you a buffer zone.
Right. So then you're all set. Then you put that ticket in. I mean, listen to all this. I mean, this is kind of crazy, right?
It is.
All this, like, different rules it's just, we never had to deal with this. And I guess that's the point. I don't even care about the money or the free, like, that's important too, but just the ease of getting in and out.
Right. And different rules everywhere. Some are 3 hours, some are 4 hours, some
crazy.
Aren't any of that.
Yeah.
Some the free parking is for everybody. Some it's just for Nevada locals.
Right.
There's a ton of different rules, and there needs to be something uniform.
I know. All right. Well, why don't we do some tips and change the subject? How about that?
All right. Well, now we want to give you a heads up about getting to and from the Sphere, at least for the month of January. From January 8th, which is already passed, through the 29th coming up, the pedestrian bridge from the Venetian Resort to the Sphere is closed. Okay. So they have been putting out alternative routes for people who are going to the Sphere. But I will tell you, when we left, we pulled out of the Palazzo parking garage and went down Sands Avenue, going east. And the show, A Postcard from Earth, had just let out at the Sphere. And all of the pedestrian traffic had to walk on street level. And there were so many people that, like, the crowds spilled off of the sidewalk, like, into the road. They had cones out to bring it down to one lane for traffic. So it definitely created a backup, and it was a long outside chilly walk for anyone who was going to the Sphere. So just a heads up, through the end of January, that pedestrian bridge that gets you to the Sphere from the Venetian is going to be closed.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, when I left, I saw that backup of traffic, and I did a quick U-turn.
And went the other way.
Yep.
I know. I should have.
I know. That seems like you that you would. I'm surprised you didn't.
I know. See, it was because it all stemmed from the parking gate
and all
that.
Flustered.
I was flustered and wasn't in my right mind.
Okay, here's another little tip. My friend was in town. He listens to the podcast, and he said, you got to do this as a tip. And I mentioned he was staying at the Wynn, right? He usually stays at the Wynn, but he's usually strip side. But he was staying on a side that it's like right near Excess Nightclub.
Right,
okay. Close by.
Yep.
And he said, the music played all night long. Really, late into the night, and it was, for him, unbearable. So he asked to be moved. They were totally cool. Sounds like a lot of people asked to be moved. But he thought, just let people know, if you're going to the Wynn and you get a room that is near Excess Nightclub, especially in a lower floor,
right,
you're going to hear that music. Be aware. And obviously, only on the nights that Excess is open. I don't know if it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or what it is, but be aware. Just something to keep in mind if you're planning on staying at the Wynn and you don't want that loud music all night. Don't stay on that side of the hotel.
Yeah, and you'll know if you get to your room and look out the window, you'll know if the nightclub's down there.
Right.
Resorts World, there's some news coming out of Resorts World, and they've started pushing out a lot of deals for Las Vegas locals.
They have. They're wanting to be the local casino on the Strip. So on the Strip, we have a lot of like casinos that are off the Strip, and they're considered locals, but they're like, we want to be the Strip hotel casino that caters to locals. So interesting twist there, but they're doing some great things for locals and Nevada residents that I'm like, well, I mean, this is a deal. They're doing 20% off most of the restaurants inside there if you come in with a Nevada ID.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah. And this isn't just, anywhere. It's some of the premier dining restaurants, some of the beverage venues. So I got a list. So write this down, everyone. Crossroads Kitchen, Doghouse and Saloon and Sportsbook, Genting Palace, that's delicious, Junior's, Kusanori, Wally's Wine and Spirits, Viva, Mulberry Street Pizzeria, Foohoo, and Redtail, all offering 20% off your bill if you bring in your Nevada ID and show.
And by the way, these local deals, they're good Sunday through Thursday, so keep that in mind.
Now that's a tip, right?
That is an incredible tip. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I thought that was good. I mean, it's it's the first big step toward catering to the locals, and I love it. I live nearby, so anytime I can get a discount.
Just don't forget your ID.
Don't forget your ID. Yes. All right. Well, that's a podcast. Like we said, we're going to be keeping you posted on Super Bowl 58 as preps are underway. Again, we always tell you, I feel like for the last few podcasts, to download that NFL One Pass app, and you can get tickets to opening night at Allegiant Stadium, $30. And both teams will be there. There's going to be some entertainment. All the media will be there. It'll be a really fun event inside Allegiant Stadium where the Super Bowl is taking place.
Yes. And by the way, I did receive a text alert about the road closures. So go to the Clark County social media channels, and you'll see how to sign up for the road closure schedule related to Super Bowl 58, because there are going to be some mainly over there by Allegiant Stadium.
Okay. I saw someone on social media too say that I don't know if it's could be saying this wrong. It might not have been the Taxi Cab Authority, but one of the official websites for taxi cabs, they're going to raise, there's going to be a $10 fee surcharge.
Surge pricing
around Super Bowl. Yeah. Keep that in mind. If you're not doing anything Super Bowl related, and you're like, what's this $10? That's why.
Yeah.
Keep it in mind and do some research before you hop in a cab. But the cabs are going to be needed, so we're grateful to have them.
Thank you to our sponsor, VegasNearMe app, available in the Apple App Store and on Google Play. If it's fun to do or see, it's on Vegas Near Me.
Have a great week, everyone.
It's raining in the city. We got bills to pay. Packing up a suitcase. Let's take a holiday.